Alrighty. Let's see, last time this wasn't where I ended. There we go. We'd found out Nico's father was potentially involved in some serious shit. So, let's go comfort her, shall we? Actually, no.
I pushed against the door, but it seemed to be locked.
Oh, well, Let's talk to this lady, then.
Oh, hi.
Bonjour, monsieur. Would you like me to foretell your future?
No thanks.
I'm very good. It only takes a minute.
Thanks all the same, but I'm not superstitious. Besides, if it only takes a minute, that's not much of a future to look forward to. Do you know a young woman called Nicole Collard?
Yes, I do. She lives upstairs from me in the apartment block across the street.
I tried the door, but it's locked.
You know, I've told the landlord about that a million times. It is a damp. The old building is like a sponge. It sucks up the moisture from God knows where.
You mean the door is stuck because it's swollen?
That is correct. There is an art to opening it. Don't shove too hard. Just give it a gentle nudge above the lock.
Thanks for the advice.
Good to know.
How long has Mademoiselle Collard lived here?
A few months. She's in for a shock when the cold weather comes. Drafty windows, insufficient heating. It's a struggle to keep warm. The only reason I stay is because the rent is cheap. Your young lady, she deserves better.
I thought Mademoiselle Collard was a successful photographer.
Not as successful as she makes out for all her fine clothes. Oh, I've heard her crying herself to sleep at night.
That's awful.
Now don't you let on that I've told you. She's proud, that one. Too proud, if you ask me.
Have you seen anyone out here watching Mademoiselle Collard's apartment?
Yes, I have. A strange man. Tall and thin as a broomstick. He kept his face hidden, but I saw his eyes peering from evil little slits.
How was he dressed?
A long brown raincoat with an hat.
Or like Humphrey Bogart?
Yes, but he didn't have Bogart's charisma. Besides, this guy looked like he needed a toilet. You never saw Bogart clenching his buttocks like that.
Is there anything else you can tell me about Mademoiselle Collard?
No, monsieur.
Are the flowers for sale?
Oui, monsieur.
Okay. I'll take a bunch of those white ones.
I wouldn't do that if I was you.
No?
They are lilies, monsieur. Some people associate them with death.
Yikes. Thanks for telling me. What other flowers do you have?
Dahlias?
What do they signify?
Insecurity?
I don't want to give her the wrong idea about me. What about the tall yellow ones?
Those are iris, the flame of passion.
And the little yellow ones?
Sensuality.
Well, they're no use to me. I want to make an impression, not jump down her throat.
Is there any flower that would not give the wrong idea?
I've changed my mind. Will you tell my fortune?
You're going on a long journey.
My, oh my. What a surprise. Can you tell me anything I don't already know? How does this fortune-telling routine work?
If I knew that, I wouldn't be selling flowers for a living.
Haven't you ever wondered why you were blessed with the gift?
Well, it's a bit like satellite television, I suppose. Some of us are born with a built-in receiver dish. I just happen to be one of the lucky ones.
Can you really foretell the future?
Only time will tell, monsieur. The strange thing is, I can't seem to see myself in the future. Other people, I have no problem. But when I try to see what might happen to me, nothing.
That must be scary.
Maybe. I figure it's a kind of natural safety mechanism. Either that, or I don't have a future.
Probably the former.
See you later.
That's right, monsieur. You will.
Alright, now let's go into the apartment, now that we know the trick.
Remembering the flower seller's advice, I pushed the door gently just above the lock. Hi.
Bonjour. I'm glad you could make it, monsieur.
Please, call me George.
Fine. I'm Nicole. Take a seat, George. Eh bien? And what have you been up to?
I've been exploring the sewers underneath the cafe.
I thought I could smell something bad.
The clown used the sewer to escape and to change out of his costume. I guess he was in a hurry. He left his jacket behind.
And?
I got his tailor's phone number.
You had better luck than I did.
Luck, she said. Luck. Hard work, I'd call it. What happened?
My editor told me to drop the story. Can you believe it?
But you're not gonna do that.
Oh no. I'm going to find out what's behind these killings. It just doesn't add up. It almost feels like some sort of conspiracy. The police in 3 different countries have kept very quiet about the murders. The press don't connect them at all. They blame them on political, religious, or militant minority extremists.
Well, that covers just about everyone. Tell me more about yourself.
There's nothing much to tell.
Well, how'd you get into photography?
I guess I owe that to my father. He bought me my first camera. I was 8, and my parents had just split up.
Did you live with your father?
Yes. My mother went off with her new boyfriend. I didn't mind. Papa was all I needed. 4 years later, he died in a plane crash.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right. I don't mind talking about him. He was more like an older brother, really. Always joking and laughing. Papa always wanted me to study art. That's why I went to college.
Did you learn about photography at college?
God, no. I couldn't afford the materials. We were billed for everything we used. Paint, canvas, paper. Most
Sounds
of my
about
year
right.
turned to minimalism. It was cheaper. I used to go poaching in the park for squirrel hair. The only time I wasn't hungry was the term I did printing. I used to eat the potatoes.
You're making fun of me, aren't you?
Oh, no.
Tell me more about the clown's previous victims.
The first was Arnaud Bellotta, the millionaire pharmaceutical baron. He made his money from amphetamines in the post-war slimming and diet boom. Imagine it, millions of housewives literally speeding their butts off. The only witness in the case was his Filipino au pair. She swears he was lured to his death by a snowman.
What about the clown's second victim?
Yamada, the controversial Japanese politician. He inherited his fortune from his father's electrochemical consortium.
How did he die?
At the hands, or should I say flippers, of a giant emperor penguin.
A snowman, a penguin, and now a clown.
I had been about to add mime to the list, but stopped myself. I really didn't want to have to explain to George about my father's involvement with Cachon.
You know, I hate to admit it, but this is scary. And I'll tell you this, I will not be accepting any invitations to costume parties.
I don't blame you for being scared. I am too. But this story could be my only chance for a big break.
Or an early death. I found this false nose in the sewer.
Hey, what's this inside it?
The contents of someone's nose?
Don't be cross, George. It says La Risée du Monde. Masks and costumes. It's a costume shop near the Gare Saint-Lazare.
I'll check it out. Maybe the owner remembers who hired the clown costume.
They record that one from like a foot away from the microphone? Also hired the clown costume? I'm sure somehow that's grammatically correct, but no, I think the better term would have been rent. Or bought.
I found this tissue down the sewer.
That's disgusting, George.
No, I think the stuff on it is grease paint. Like actors use, or clowns.
It's still disgusting. Get rid of it.
Well, I tried.
I found a piece of material near the cafe. When I showed it to the concierge, he recognized it right away.
It's very distinctive, all right. Just wait until you see this. I developed the film I shot at the cafe. Here, George. It's an enlargement I made. Look what that guy's wearing.
Checkered pants. The same material as I found in the sewer.
That's right. This guy shouldn't be difficult to find.
Oh, no?
Take a close look at his right cheek.
A scar in the shape of a horseshoe.
Or
Cheek.
a crescent moon.
That's more around his eye.
I have to go.
Okay,
I'll see you later.
We want to go to not there, not there, not there. Right there.
Excuse me.
Bonjour, monsieur. Please, come in. Welcome. Leave the mundane world behind, for in these four walls, fantasy is king.
I don't want a costume.
Didn't you ever dress up when you were a child?
Not that I remember.
Incredible! You'll be telling me next that you never shared your elder sister's lingerie.
I don't have a sister.
What?
And I think I'd look pretty silly in a brassiere. I just need some information.
Of course. How can I help you?
Also, costuming is fun. I like to cosplay.
Have you heard of a man named Plantile?
I do not recall anyone of that name.
I'm looking for a man who hired a clown costume from you.
Oui, monsieur. I do not see how I can help.
Don't you keep a record of costumes that you've rented out?
Of course, monsieur, but...
Well, then, I'd like to check your records. Give me the names of everyone who's rented a clown suit.
Impossible. There are too many.
Again, with the hired out.
Does this dirty tissue mean anything to you?
Let me smell that. Bestheimer's number 7, white pancake.
Theatrical grease paint, right?
Oui, monsieur. La crème de la crème of Thespian accoutrement.
Have you sold any of it recently?
Yes, 2 cans.
Do you recognize this man?
Ah oui, he was here this morning. That is the man to whom I sold the grease paint. I remember the scar on his face. He chose 2 costumes. Bozo the clown and Seamus the pixie.
A pixie?
Very smart. Green silk with a taffeta lining. He gave me his name as Monsieur Khan.
Khan!
Thanks for your help, buddy.
My pleasure, monsieur. Allow me to shake you by the hand.
Huh? Well, okay. What are you trying to do, kill me?
You did not find it amusing?
I never saw the funny side of electroshock therapy.
Eh bien, it is yours to keep. A gift?
Do I need a license?
No, but I give you a word of warning, monsieur.
What?
Remember to switch it off before you visit the toilet.
Maybe don't use it on anyone with a pacemaker either. It's the cafe here. Also, why is this the only phone?
Hello? Who is this?
Hi. My name's George Stobart. You don't know me.
Correct, Mr. Stobart. I don't. What can I do for you?
Well, I'm trying to trace one of your customers. Could I maybe come over and talk to you?
No. No, that's not possible.
Oh, okay. Forget it. Listen, all I want is a name.
What are you talking about? Who are you working for?
I guess you might say I'm acting in the interests of truth and justice.
Ah, thank God. I thought you were the police.
There are innocent lives at stake, Mr. Todrick. Lives that you could save.
You're collecting for charity, yes?
No, I'm not. All I want from you is information.
Go on. I'm listening.
Do you know a guy called Plantar?
No, I never heard of him.
Shall I tell you what happened to Plantar? How he was killed in cold blood?
I told you, I never heard of Plantar.
I expect Plantar's a family man, don't you? In their little apartment, Madame Plantar is cooking the supper, listening for the familiar sound of her husband's key in the door. Junior is waiting for his daddy to come home from work. He can't wait to show him the merit marks he earned in school today. Only tonight, Monsieur Plantar won't be coming home.
You forgot the puppy.
Huh?
The faithful puppy dog, waiting for the sound of his master's voice.
Well, maybe they don't have a dog. What do you think?
I don't know, Plantar. I never heard of Plantar. None of this has anything to do with me.
The man I'm looking for is called Khan. He bought a suit from you, remember?
Mr. Khan. Yes, I remember him. Yes, I delivered the suit to his hotel. The Hotel Ubu. I don't remember the room number. It was upstairs. The second room on the right-hand side of the corridor.
Thanks, Todrick. That's all I wanted to know. Now I've got you, Mr. Clown.
I guess we don't get to talk to him about the clown since we jump straight to Khan. Hotel Ubu. I didn't want to talk to you, I just wanted to
Excuse
observe
me.
you.
Yeah?
See you later.
Not if you see me first.
The guy looked just like a weasel. The man looked like an amiable Bigfoot. I want some information.
Who are you? The police?
I'm conducting a private investigation.
Ah, I know only too well what you mean. That is one of the drawbacks of the catering business. When people book into an hotel, they leave their morals at home, no?
I'm looking for a man who dresses like a clown.
This is a highly respectable hotel, monsieur. There are no clowns here.
If you say so. Do you know a man named Plantar?
No, monsieur.
Do you have a guest by the name of Khan?
No, monsieur. Perhaps you would care to check the register.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Yes, monsieur. That man is one of our guests.
What name?
I cannot tell you that.
The man who calls himself Khan has a scar on his right cheek.
Vraiment? I tell you, I do not know a man named Khan.
Maybe not, but I noticed a change in his expression when I mentioned the scar.
Excusez-moi, monsieur.
What?
You were trying to steal that key, no?
No, only borrow away. Borrow the words. Borrow it.
Excuse me, didn't I see your picture in the news? You're that Nobel Prize winner from some unpronounceable Eastern European state.
Yes, that is me, in person.
I don't want to worry you, but have you had any threats on your life? You know, mysterious phone calls, letters made up of headlines cut from the newspaper.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you know a guy called Plantar?
I don't know anybody in Paris.
Oh, well, this guy's dead anyhow.
Why do you ask me about dead men? I have seen enough of death to last me a lifetime.
I'm, sure you have. Have you seen a clown?
I beg your pardon?
The clown. A guy in funny pants. Have you seen him?
My pants are from England, Marks and Spencer. They are a pleasure and a comfort to wear, with much support.
I'm real glad to hear that. You know, it's good to know you Nobel Prize winners are human too.
In my country, the people make do with string and egg cartoons.
For pants?
For everything. Oppression is the mother of ingenuity.
Huh.
Do you recognize this man? He calls himself Khan.
Yes, I know this man. Why do you carry his photograph?
I'm a private detective. What's your interest in Khan?
He is an enemy of my people.
You know he's a killer.
Of course, amongst other things.
Would you help me investigate Khan?
That is not possible. My instructions are to observe. I cannot jeopardize my position as an honored guest of this country's government.
Well, damn.
Thanks for your help.
Goodbye.
Hi there, ma'am.
Well, hello. What can I do for you?
I'm looking for a man.
You disappoint me, my dear. For one foolish moment, I thought... But never mind. Aren't you going to tell me your name?
George. George Stobart, ma'am.
How sweet! I once had a stable boy called George. I am Lady Piermont. The common reaction is to kneel and stutter, but it's not obligatory.
A real lady? I mean, you're an honest-to-God aristocrat?
Oh, I don't know about that. Few of my ancestors are honest, not even to God. I can trace my family back to the Normans, but don't let that intimidate you, George. Beneath that impressive pedigree, I'm just flesh and blood. The blood may be blue, but the flesh is the plump beef of old England, so to speak. You appear distracted, George. Is there any way I can help you?
Did you know there's a gangster out front?
What makes you think he's a gangster?
The Italian suit and the bulge in his pocket?
I know plenty of men with Italian suits and bulges in their pockets. That doesn't necessarily make them gangsters.
Uh-huh.
I'm looking for a murderer.
Good heavens! You're a private detective.
That's correct, ma'am.
What's the term you Americans use? It's on the tip of my tongue.
I believe what you're thinking of is Dick.
Precisely.
Are we just going to have a lot of innuendo in this one?
Have you come across a man who calls himself Khan?
I am familiar with only one person named Khan.
Genghis Khan, the legendary Mongol barbarian chieftain?
No, darling. Kevin.
Kevin Khan? I never heard of him.
I'd be most surprised if you had, darling. He's a pharmacist in Hemel Hempstead. Organizes fundraising for the Rotarians. Lovely man.
Does he have a scar on his cheek?
I really wouldn't know, sweetie.
Are you here in Paris on vacation?
No, darling, I'm on holiday. I needed to get away after Algy's funeral.
I didn't realize you were mourning the loss of a loved one.
I'm not. He was my husband.
Ouch!
I'm sorry to hear about your husband's death.
You wouldn't be if you knew him, my dear. It gave me the opportunity to take a well-deserved holiday. Daphne suggested a change of scenery. Paris, she said. A wild romance is just what you need to take your mind off the inquest. Well, the closest I came to romance was being wooed by a drunken Breton chef. I must say I was disappointed with his coq au vin. Not at all what I was expecting. I was thinking of cutting my holiday short, packing my bags and heading back to Hemel Hempstead. That was until last night.
What happened to you last night?
I was stricken, Mr. Stobart. Cupid's arrow has cleft my bosom.
They couldn't really miss.
It was just as I'd always imagined it should be. The intimacy of candlelight. Romantic music tinkling across the room. And then, a stranger's glance. Those brooding eyes, that suave manner, those tight trousers. He was the man I'd been waiting for all my life.
I'm glad he finally turned up after all these years.
Ah, but it wasn't to be. He was merely toying with my affections. And if I ever catch up with him, he's dead.
Who was the guy who led you on?
His name is Merlin.
Merlin?
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
My God, it's him! That's Merlin!
She represented everything I loved about the English. The lady was totally deranged. Merlin? You mean King Arthur's wizard?
Good heavens, no! Monsieur Merlin is a fellow guest. He's the man I've been telling you about. That's the man who spurned me.
The man you know as Merlin is a fake.
What do you mean, sweetie?
He's a murderer. He also uses the name Khan.
I am shocked, Mr. Stobart. Shaken. I took him to be a gentleman, a man of honor. Do you know, I'd rather like to assist you in stitching him up.
When did you last see Merlin?
It was no more than an hour ago. He came downstairs and spoke to that clerk chappie. Something passed hands. I couldn't see what exactly.
A briefcase?
No, smaller than that. A bundle of papers, perhaps. The clerk put it in the hotel safe and Merlin went out.
Are you sure you saw Merlin putting documents in the safe?
Yes, darling, positive.
I wonder what they were.
Obviously something of great importance.
Yeah. I'd sure like to get my hands on whatever it is. I'll bet they had something to do with Plantar's briefcase. Has Merlin returned to the hotel?
No, he hasn't. Are you going to search his room?
If I could get in there, I would.
Okay, now that we had that lovely conversation,
There was no one registered under the name of Khan, but the name in the book for room 22 was Merlin.
What now, monsieur?
I'd like to retrieve something from your safe.
Ah, oui, monsieur. May I see some form of identification?
Like what?
A driving license, perhaps?
I don't drive.
Your passport?
I don't have it with me. I could show you my operation scar.
I'm sorry, monsieur. I must have some form of unique ID.
You won't find a more unique ID than my scar.
I'm sorry. I must insist on a more traditional identification.
Rats.
no, rats won't do either.
About the key hanging on the hook over there.
Oui, monsieur.
Which room is it for?
Number 21.
Is that room taken?
No. The guests checked out this morning.
I'd like to check into room 21.
That is not possible.
How come? You said it was vacant.
It is reserved for another guest.
Rats.
No, monsieur. Dutch.
I believe Khan, the man with the scar, is also known as Merlin, the man who has taken room 22.
What of it? What do you want?
Access to his room.
Do you have a license, monsieur?
Huh?
A private investigator's license?
Well, not exactly, but I can explain everything.
I am sorry, but without credentials, I cannot help.
Smart.
I insist you give me the key to Merlin's room.
I cannot do that, monsieur.
This guy Merlin is a menace.
So you say, monsieur.
He's not only a danger to society, but to your guests as well. He has toyed with the affections of Lady Piermont.
Ciel! Are there no depths to which he will not sink?
Precisely. He's already killed once, twice, maybe as many as 3 times. With your help, I just might be able to stop him.
But what if he finds out I have helped you? No, I cannot do it.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
Would you distract the clerk while I borrow a key?
Are you asking me to aid you in a criminal act, darling?
Oh, no. It's the key to an empty room.
And why, may I ask, do you wish to gain access to an empty room? Do you plan to squat?
No, ma'am.
Scouts honor?
I was never in the Boy Scouts, ma'am.
Oh, you should have been. What were your parents thinking of? It's a fine way for a boy to get licked into shape. Now tell me, why do you want to get into that room?
It's next to the room the killer is using.
Ah, so you plan to eavesdrop on Merlin?
I was hoping there might be a connecting door.
Well, how can I refuse? I shouldn't think my feminine charms would be much use in this case, but a good dose of English arrogance might do the trick. I say! You there? Flunky!
Oui, madame.
Listen carefully. You do understand English, don't you?
But of course, madame.
Good. I wish to deposit some jewelry for safekeeping.
I understand.
Are you quite certain?
Oh, bien sûr, madame.
Over to you, my dear.
Yoink.
Maybe it wasn't the right room, but this was the right key.
No door. But maybe we can Gabriel Knight this. Yep. Go in, please. Thank you.
The bed was freshly made, and the crisp white sheets told me nothing about the killer's habits. It was the battered leather briefcase I'd seen Plantar carrying just before he died. I searched the interior of the briefcase, but as I'd half expected, it was empty.
Of course.
The assassin had been too smart to leave incriminating evidence beside his bed.
Look inside, please.
The closet was a solid, impressive piece of antique furniture.
Okay, I guess not.
The closet was a
Why does it have 2 click points? Oh well.
It was Khan. I had the kind of feeling in my stomach that would usually send me running to the bathroom. As Khan opened the wardrobe, I was sure I was dead. But he grabbed his pants quickly and didn't even see me. I didn't usually spy on men getting changed. But this guy was a killer, and I didn't want any surprises. He left his checkered pants on the bed.
Well, at least his clothes match now. Time to check a man's pants. They are very dirty.
A strip along the side seam of the pants had been unpicked, then sewn back up with strong thread and a special stitch. I had that kind of feeling you only get from searching still warm pants. There was nothing in the pocket. The pocket was empty.
Damn.
I flipped the pants over. I found an ordinary matchbook. No matches, no clues. But as I pulled it from the pocket, a strong thread came with it. A thread with a metal tag on the end. I pulled on the metal tag and the thread came out of the pants. It was like pulling out a ripcord. I found nothing in the pocket. I turned the pants over again. I searched the pocket gingerly and found a pass card. It read, Thomas Merlin, Gruber Electronics Corporation.
What now, monsieur?
Does this pass mean anything to you?
That is Monsieur Merlin's property.
That's right. Merlin the murderer. I want to see what he's left in your safe.
Impossible. I cannot betray his confidence, no matter what you say he's done.
You're making a big mistake.
Maybe. I can live with that. A murderer? Are you sure?
Positive. Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
I found this pass in Merlin's room.
So, that deceitful little man is passing himself off as an electrician, is he?
Uh-huh. This guy probably has 1,000,000 faces. I showed the pass to the clerk, hoping he'd give me Merlin's papers, but he wouldn't buy it. He's too scared.
I'll give him something to be scared of. Follow me, George! Did you place a package from Merlin in the hotel safe?
I did, madame.
And did my friend here show you Merlin's identification?
Indeed he did, but
What's the problem?
he isn't Merlin.
A mere academic detail. Give him the package.
But that is against the law.
I happen to be a justice of the peace, you silly man. I am the law. If he tries anything, shoot him, George.
My pleasure, Lady Piermont.
One moment, please.
You know, I haven't enjoyed myself this much since Greenham Common.
I don't know what I would have done without you, Lady Piermont.
Voilà, monsieur. Le manuscrit de Monsieur Merlin.
Thanks.
How satisfying. An Anglo-American alliance that actually worked.
The clerk had given me a tightly rolled sheet of parchment. I decided not to unroll it until I was safely back in Nico's apartment.
Well then, let's go to Nico's apartment.
I couldn't leave the hotel with the manuscript. It was probably what those thugs were looking for.
Oh yeah, there are people out front. Let's go out the back way. Or just toss this down here.
I knew this was no way to treat an ancient manuscript, but I couldn't let it fall into the hands of the goons waiting outside.
We're lucky it didn't blow away with that wind, it sounds like.
Just a minute, monsieur.
What's your problem?
No problem, if you cooperate.
What do you want?
Just a routine security check. Nothing to worry yourself about.
Oh, well, all right.
Search him, Flap.
You bet.
Hey, knock it off. Get off, you big ape.
Nothing, Guido. Zilch.
Our apologies, monsieur.
What? I had to report you to the authorities.
Round here, we are the authorities.
You want I should break his arms?
No. Let him go, Flap.
Yoink! Again.
If the manuscript was what Flap and Guido were after, they were going to be disappointed. I couldn't wait to get back to Nico's apartment to check it out. Hi, how are you?
Oh, hi. Come in, George.
What are you doing to help trace the killer clown?
Research, George.
Yeah? You have a copy of the clown's yearbook?
I have a telephone and lots of contacts.
Oh, Well, did you find anything useful?
Not yet. I'm employing my first and most useful weapon.
What's that?
Patience.
Oh, I've heard of that. Isn't it a substitute for decisive thinking? Do you have a boyfriend?
Not anymore. There was someone. A guy in my final year, but it didn't work out. Neither did my degree.
I'm sorry.
I'm not.
Tell me more about your family.
When I was a little girl, I used to spend the winter with my grandfather and grandma. They were the best times. Warm and safe in their tiny cottage. My grandfather rolled cigarettes while grandma made hot chocolate and cakes. One day, he stopped his groaning. He put the lid back on his tobacco jar and took me in his arms. I laughed and wriggled, but he hushed me to be silent. With his unshaven chin all scratchy in my ear, he told me his secret.
What did he say?
He said, I don't smoke, but she likes to think I do.
What a weird old man.
Don't call my grandfather weird. He was the nicest guy ever. I wish I was back in that cottage instead of this crummy apartment in this noisy city.
You're just not going to believe what I've found.
It's not another part of the clown's costume, is it?
It's a medieval manuscript. Khan left it in the safe at the Ubu.
It's incredible. Is this what he took from Plantar?
It could be, which means it's worth enough to kill for.
Look there, two guys on the same horse.
Oh, yeah. Maybe they couldn't afford one each. What of it?
Have you ever heard of the Knights Templar? Their official seal was an image of two knights sharing a horse. Whatever this manuscript means, it's connected with the Templars.
How come you know about these knights?
I learned about them while writing an article on the Crusades. This guy, named Hughes de Payen, arrived one day at the court of King of Jerusalem. He offered to protect the Christian pilgrims from the displaced Muslim armies. The king would be able to guarantee safe transit to Christians in the Holy Land. Safer journeys meant more pilgrims, and pilgrims meant trade and wealth. The Templars proved invaluable to the king as a mercenary army. It was said that they never asked how many the enemy numbered, just where they were. And as the years went by, the Templars grew in wealth and numbers. They were so rich, even kings came to them for loans. But at the height of their power, they fell foul of the King of France. He rounded them up and turned them over to the Inquisition. Thousands of Templars were subject to torture and confessed to heresy. Of course, at the hands of the Inquisition, there wasn't much they wouldn't confess to. The last Grand Master Jacques de Molay was burned alive.
Jeez. So the treasure is hidden, waiting to be discovered?
If there ever was a treasure, it's been lost for 600 years. Anyway, we're supposed to be investigating a serial killer, not a medieval treasure trove.
But maybe that's what the clown and his accomplices are after. Maybe this manuscript is the key.
You'd better leave it here for safekeeping.
Let's take another look at the manuscript. There's a guy with a sword and a bull.
The only mythological bull I know of is the Minotaur, but he was only half bull.
I don't think I'd like to be half a bull, even if it was the bottom half.
What's that object between them?
It looks like a gem on top of a tripod. There's a guy working on a loom. He's weaving a carpet or a tapestry.
Or a duvet cover. It's a clue to a place, I reckon. Somewhere famed for weaving and ships.
Where folk live in barrels?
It beats copper boxes.
A knight with a crystal ball. Now, there's something written on the scroll beside the knight.
Yes, but it's written in Latin. Per disciplinum mea lux videbis.
By my teachings, you will see the light.
You speak Latin? Where did you learn a trick like that?
A trick? I studied law, okay? I can read Latin.
My, you're touchy. Tell me that again.
There's a woman looking at her reflection in a mirror, but the reflection has 3 hideous faces.
She reminds me of the wicked queen in Snow White.
She was the one who said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall," wasn't she? She made me cry so much when I was a kid. Mom carried me out of the movie theater.
She didn't frighten me in the least.
Like I said, I was only a kid. I didn't like the crocodile in Peter Pan either.
Look there, two guys on the same horse. Let's face it, we need help, George. Someone who knows about these things.
Who do you suggest? Indiana Jones?
I know a guy who specializes in medieval studies. His name is Lobino.
Huh. Some stuffy old fossil who gets horny over ancient relics, I suppose.
Far from it. Andre isn't the stereotypical professor you have in mind.
Where can I find this Lobino guy?
At the Krone Museum. I'll give you the address.
Okay.
I
now
have
that
to
we're
go.
done.
Okay. Don't forget to look for Lobino at the Krone Museum.
To the museum!
In the case was a spindly tripod, blackened with age and pitted with rust. It was identical to the tripod pictured on the manuscript. A notice identified it as 15th century from Western Ireland. It had been found in Loch Marn at the site of a Knights Templar preceptory. Ireland!
What's that?
This tripod was found in Ireland.
I will have to ask you to keep your voice down.
I'm sorry, I was excited. Pardon me.
Oui, monsieur?
Are you Lobino?
Oh, no. Fancy you mistaking me for him. No. I am the deputy custodian.
But Lobino does work here.
Work? I wouldn't go so far as to call it there. He studies here most days, but as you can see for yourself, not today.
You share the same voice as the concierge, I think, from near the cafe.
Do you know anything about the Knights of the Temple?
No, sir. Not a sausage.
The sign on the tripod says it was found at a Templar preceptory.
It does?
Yeah. It doesn't mention John Dee at all.
Most remiss.
You don't know anything about the tripod, do you?
No, I don't. I never had much of a start in life, you see. I owe what little education I gained to my uncle. He was an optician, but he also doubled as the village school teacher. He taught me the alphabet. Wait, 19 letters of it. The bottom row of the chart was too small even for him to read, so he left them out.
Why don't you start over and enroll for adult education?
You know, I never thought of that. Do you think if I studied art and did all my homework, I could be a professor of history?
At your age? Dream on.
Wow, rude.
Do you know anything about medieval manuscripts?
Not me, monsieur. I am no scholar, though people often mistake me for one. It is the uniform, I guess. They see the clothes. They are impressed.
And they ask you to park their cars?
They ask me to park the... No. They assume I am an authority on the exhibits in my care.
Whereas you know next to nothing about history.
Of course not. All I am saying is, I am no scholar. Not like Monsieur Lobino.
Can you give me any further information about the tripod?
Certainly, monsieur. It's infamous. That tripod, that belonged to John Dee.
Who is John Dee?
What's the importance of John Dee's tripod?
Dee was the most famous escapologist of the 16th century. The Houdini of his time.
Don't you mean alchemist? Escapologists use ropes, chains, and handcuffs, not tripods.
Well, whatever he was, that is the tripod he used in his experiments.
What kind of experiments did John Dee perform with his tripod?
Oh, the usual. Didn't you study chemistry at school?
Yeah, but we skipped over thaumatology. Can I take a closer look at the tripod?
What? Get it out of the case? Ah, no! That tripod is protected by a sophisticated surveillance system.
How sophisticated?
A painfully loud alarm bell.
How is the alarm bell triggered?
By the slightest pressure on or movement of any part of the case wherein that tripod is situated.
It strikes me that to call your alarm system sophisticated is, well, stretching the truth a little.
It has never failed yet. The sophistication is in its simplicity.
Well, I think that's all we're getting out of him.
Thanks for your help.
Leave it alone. That closet is over 3,000 years old.
That's not a closet.
It's a sarcophagus.
Attention! Please do not open the window, monsieur.
Don't you think it's kind of stuffy in here?
Better stuffy than dead.
What's the problem? Fumes from car exhausts?
Not just that, monsieur. There's a new burger bar opened up across the street. The Laughing Buffalo.
So what's the problem?
They cook their burgers on a charcoal grill. And the fat falls on the open flame. The amount of organic compound and smoke particles released is astounding. Since they opened, local air pollution has doubled. And it stinks like a funeral pyre. That is why I keep the windows closed.
I would just get hungry. Rougerie.
Hi. I've been to the Croon Museum.
Did you speak to Lobino?
No, he wasn't there. Let's take another look at the manuscript.
Oh.
There's a guy with it between.
Can I? Nope.
There's a knight through.
There we go.
I found the tripod.
Where?
In the museum. It belonged to the Templars. It was dug up in Ireland at a place called Loch Marn.
I have heard of Loch Marn. I'll write an article about the castle. Take a look for yourself.
A popular gossip magazine. You read that rubbish?
No, I write it.
Professor Nigel Pegram. Excavating the medieval castle at Loch Marn. That's strange.
What?
He resigned his chair at Durham University in order to devote his time to the excavation. Not only that, but he canceled the filming of a 4th series of his popular television program. This site at Loch Marn must be awful important to him.
He's a professor of history. They're all cuckoo.
All the same, I'd like to talk to this Professor Pegram. How do you feel about a trip to Ireland?
Disappointed.
Huh?
That I won't be going. I want to follow up the Belota case. If you really think Pegram's gem is important, why don't you visit Loch Marn?
On my own? I'm not so sure about that. Where is Ireland exactly? Have you found out any more about the murders?
Well, it may be nothing, but both the clan's victims visited Paris earlier this year.
When?
The second week of July. They were both here at the same time.
Did they meet?
I don't know, but I can't imagine it was coincidence.
I have to go.
Okay, I'll see you later.
So, to Ireland.
I passed the castle on the way into Loch Marn. The castle where Pegram's excavation was located.
Casual cross-country travel. Sure. Only in adventure games.
Top of the morning to you.
I beg your pardon.
Well, that's what you Irish say, isn't it?
Do you want something? Or are you just flaunting your xenophobia?
Well, I was trying to be sociable.
Is it a room you're after?
Sure.
That's not a bad idea. Do you have a vacancy?
I could.
if you don't mind waiting until the last guest checks out.
No problem. When will that be?
When the Undertaker comes to collect him.
Okay.
Have you served any, clowns recently?
No. You're the first today.
I don't know why we keep asking about the clown. We've already established that that was kind of a one-time thing.
Do you know a man called Pegram?
Indeed I do. Are you a friend of his, by any chance?
Oh no, I'm just trying to track him down.
Me too. That son of a bitch should be locked away.
Did Pegram stay here?
Yes, he did. 6 nights plus breakfast.
I'll try a glass of beer, please.
Is this your first pint of real ale?
Well, I guess so. What's real ale, anyhow?
Beer that's brewed from natural ingredients to traditional methods. It shouldn't be kept under pressure or refrigerated. And finally, it should have a good body and distinctive character.
In other words, it's flat and worn with bits in, and it makes you fall over.
What, no comment?
Look, I gotta be going. My name's George.
Pleased to meet you, mister. My name's Fitzgerald.
What can you tell me about the castle?
There's nothing there. Just an old ruin.
How old?
I really couldn't tell you.
Have you ever explored the castle yourself?
I used to play there sometimes, when I was a kid. Then one of the little uns fell off the wall, broke his head and died. We didn't go there anymore.
You haven't been up there recently?
No.
Do you know Professor Pegram?
He's the archaeologist, isn't he?
That's right. Did you work at Professor Pegram's dig?
What gave you that idea?
Can I get you another drink?
Oh, no, thank you. I shouldn't be drinking at all. I'm on tablets for my nerves. More than a pint and I'll pass out.
I wonder if we're going to use that in a puzzle.
See you later. Hello there. My name's George Stobart.
Pleased to meet you, I'm sure. I'm O'Brien. Can I help you?
Yes, I need to transport down to the planet immediately.
Do you know Sean Fitzgerald?
Yes, I do. What you want with him?
I want to talk to him about working at the dig.
I can't imagine anyone employing Sean Fitzgerald on a dig. He wouldn't know a post hole from his elbow.
Have you ever heard of the Knights Templar?
I most certainly have. A remarkable institution. Did you know? They were the originators of our system of credit. Their financial empire stretched from the Atlantic to the Caspian Sea. With bases in so many countries, they had to establish new methods of fiscal transfer.
So, the Knights Templar were nothing but a bunch of bankers.
I don't get it. Are you saying these Templar guys invented bank charges?
In a manner of speaking, I suppose they did.
What a dirty trick. Didn't anyone try to stop them?
Oh, yes. They were arrested, and many were burnt at the stake.
Good. They bloody well deserved it if they were anything like my bank manager.
What can you tell me about the castle, Mr. O'Brien?
It's a fine sight now, isn't it? Dates back to the 10th century, you know. Most of the existing building was added much later, of course.
Are the ruins open to the public?
Oh, no, it's much too dangerous. Anyway, there's nothing of interest remaining.
How can I get into the castle?
Well, those walls were built specifically to stop people getting in, Mr. Stobart. But I dare say you'll find a way, if you've the will.
Can you tell me about the tripod which was found at the castle?
Now, there's a bone of contention and controversy. It was dug up by an Englishman of the archaeological persuasion.
Who was this Englishman?
Professor Pegram, the same man who dug up the gem.
Do you know where I can find Pegram?
You're too late to meet that fella.
Is he dead?
Not that, but he's gone from the village. A sore point with our esteemed host, I might add.
Do you know where Pegram is gone?
I'm sorry, but I don't. He upped anchor in the dark and shipped out before the dawn.
Why did he do that?
Who knows? A guilty conscience or a secret assignation. But whatever the reason, he'll not be missed in Lochmar. Maybe now the fuss about the gem has died down, we can get back to normal.
What can you tell me about the gem which Pegram found?
Now there's a gem which should never have been taken. A man would have to be full of greed to covet that stone. What's your interest in the jewel? You're not a reporter, are you?
Oh no.
Thank the Lord for that.
Why has Pegram's departure upset the landlord?
He's lost a paying guest, that's why. More than that, there's the question of an unsettled bill.
Ah, there it is.
Michael's seen red over the business, and I don't blame him.
Can you tell me more about the landlord?
Mick Leary? He's what you call a would-be sophisticated. The trouble is, his idea of sophistication extends as far as putting paper in the lavatory.
I never worked out why he did that. It's much too dark in there to read.
That's true. Have you ever run your hand over the back of the door? The graffiti is written in Braille.
Goodbye for now. Hi there, old-timer.
What?
Nasty cold you've got there. As soon as the words left my lips, I regretted them.
Is there such a thing as a cold which isn't nasty? I put the question to Father Mahoney. Father, says I, why were we born to suffer snot?
What did he say?
He said, it's my reward for being out all night like a sinner. Pious prig. Anyway, this is no ordinary cold. It is the hay fever.
Pollinosis?
Thank you. You're not a policeman, are you?
Excuse me?
Police? No. I'd know it if you were.
Can I buy you a beer?
Very kind, I'm sure. But I don't drink the stuff Leary sells.
What's wrong with it?
I've seen what it can do.
Can you tell me how to get into the castle?
Don't even think about it, me bucko. Lochbarn Castle is haunted.
Ghosts don't bother me. I still want to visit that castle.
You can't. It's not open to the public.
There's no one around to stop me, is there?
That's right. Nothing human, anyhow.
Have you ever seen the ghost?
To be sure. With me very own eyes.
Can you describe the ghost?
It was horrible. A wee stunted beast, long beak, straggly, flappy wings.
Are you sure it wasn't a wild animal? A rabbit or a skunk or something?
A bird?
In Lochbarn? That'll be the day. No, that was a ghost, to be sure.
Do you know Pegram, the archaeologist?
That's the scrawny fellow who was poking around at the castle, isn't it? No, I don't know him.
What's that you're making?
It's a necklace, me bucko.
Oh, sure. Made out of steel wire?
That's right. A necklace for my pretty one. When my little lover feels it round her slender neck, she'll be mine. All mine.
Creepy.
I'll see you later.
Now we just need to wait a second. And
As
yoink.
soon as the old guy looked away, I grabbed his piece of wire.
He won't notice that missing, surely.
It was a beer-stained piece of toweling.
No one will miss that.
Hi there.
What?
What's your name, kid?
Who are you calling kid? Who the hell are you?
I'm George Stobart, and I'm with the good guys.
You're a head case, mister. A few sandwiches short of a picnic.
Cut the crap and tell me your name.
Liam McGuire.
What are you doing hanging around the bar, McGuire?
I'm on the run from me dad.
Why? Did you do something bad?
I ain't done nothing, boss.
You can tell me, kid. Is it your dad?
Oh, sir. He drinks every last penny down his evil throat. And there's me poor old mother, bedridden and dying of presumption. I tried to buy her medicine. Chopped firewood for Father Mahoney till my fingers bled. The old skinflint cheated me too. But I what your darling son has earned with his own sweat and blood, when suddenly me dad appears and grabs the loot. I'm off to Dublin, heavy drinking, says he. Watch out till I get back. That's why I runned away.
Something in the grin on his face told me he wasn't being strictly truthful. Compared to him, Huckleberry Finn was a candidate for Altar Boy of the Year.
Okay, I can't get out of this at the moment. I need to turn down the music once I get out of this conversation.
Do you know anything about Peagram's dig?
He wouldn't let me anywhere near it. I offered to help, but he chased me off. I didn't want to see his smelly old hole anyhow.
Did anyone from the village work at the dig?
Pegram brought some students and bums with him. He reckoned no one in Lochmarn would know what to look for. The only local guy who worked for him was Sean Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald says he's never been anywhere near the dig.
He's having you on, mister.
Of course he is.
What can you tell me about the castle, McGuire?
What do you want to know?
Well, can I get inside?
No, it's locked up.
Does anyone live there?
No. Only, what do you want to know? Oh, nothing.
You know something about the castle you're not telling me, don't you?
No.
What is it you're covering up? Is it something you're scared of?
I ain't scared of nothing.
I'll give you one last chance to tell me about the castle.
Oh, yeah? And what if I don't?
Then I'm taking you back to school.
Oh, there's a ghost. It's called the Phantom of Lochmarn.
You're not telling me you believe in ghosts, are you?
Mister, I seen it with me very own eyes. Last Tuesday night, I went up to see what that dig was about. I just reached the top of the wall when I hears this awful noise.
What sort of noise?
A horrible snuffling and snorting, like O'Brien's pig, only worst. It was coming from inside the castle.
Did you find out what was making the noise in the castle?
No fear. I just sat there on the wall like Humpty Dumpty. The moon was cracked and greasy like an old dinner plate. The yard was full of shadows. I could have been hiding anything. I would have gone home, but my legs had lost their stuffing.
Did you get to see the ghost?
Indeed I did. And a fearsome sight it is too. I sat on my arse, waited while the moon went down. Then out it comes from the shadows, all grey and tattered and hunched over like an old bent willow. Then I hears this spluttering and splashing and horrible laughter in the dark. I was so scared. Why, I fell off the bloody wall.
I'm sure there's a rational explanation for what you saw at the castle.
There is. The bloody place is haunted.
Have you seen a guy dressed as a clown?
Here in Lochmarn, they all dress like clowns.
The man I'm looking for is a dangerous psychotic.
Jesus. It's just like that film I saw. There's this clown, see? And he's after this kid who saw him kill a guy. He tries to warn the sheriff, only no one believes him. Then, while he's in the tub, the clown cuts him up with a chainsaw.
My God, that doesn't sound suitable for a kid like you.
Who are you calling a kid? I'm 25.
Yeah, right. You're not a day over 14.
Oh no, it's 25 that I am. Married with a car and 3 kids. 10 kids if you count the wives.
Do you know a man called Pegram?
Can you describe him like on the telly in the cop shows?
He's an English archaeologist.
I know the man you mean if he's the one.
Can you tell me where I'd find Pegram?
No, I can't, because he's not here now. But if I sees him, I'll ask him.
Do you know what Pegram was doing in the castle?
Digging for buried treasure. Jewels and gold and skeletons, like in the films.
Films?
See you later, kid.
Okay, mister.
Okay. Audio. That music gets way too loud sometimes. Turn up the speech slightly.
Mr. Fitzgerald? McGuire says he saw you working at the dig. What's more, he saw you talking with Pegram.
I knew this would happen. I knew I'd get caught.
I need to talk to Professor Pegram, if he's still alive.
What do you mean? Is he in danger?
Yeah, you too, if I'm right.
You're not from the Social Security.
Hell no. What makes you think that?
Well, I was claiming benefit at the same time I was working for Pegram.
I'm not in a position to make judgments, Sean. That's between you and your conscience. All I want is to talk to Pegram about the gem.
But he's not here.
I know that. But he left that package with you, didn't he? So where did Pegram go?
I don't know. I swear it. He came to see me early this morning. Said he was leaving. He asked me to give this package to a guy called Marquet.
Show me what's in the package, Sean.
I can't do that.
Why not?
I promised the professor.
So what? You didn't have any qualms about your benefit scam. So where's the harm in taking a peek inside Pegram's package?
You don't know these people. I can't. I don't dare.
But I do.
This is your last chance to show me the package, Fitzgerald. I've been patient with you, but now it's time to kick ass.
But he'll kill me.
Who will?
The man from Paris. Jack Marquet. Pegram told me if I gave him the package unopened, I'd hear no more about it. But if I double-crossed Marquet, I'd be dead.
I'll deal with Jacques Marquet. Give the package to me.
No. Why should I trust you? I don't know who to trust anymore. I wish I'd never even heard of the Lochmarn gem. Hey! I just seen a big red...
Get out of here, Maguire. Come back when you're old enough.
What's the lad howling about?
A big red sports car. Sean Fitzgerald's been runned over.
Get out! Noisy little tyke.
Maybe you should send out some medicinal brandy, Michael.
Oh, yes. And who's going to pay for it?
Not me.
Me too, neither.
Can no one look out the window? A man just got ran over and no one's taking it seriously.
I was telling the truth about Fitzy, mister.
Okay, calm down. Now tell me what happened.
I was standing here, minding me own business, when I saw this beautiful red sports car coming up over the hill. Would you look at that, says I. And I going over to take a closer look. Next thing, Fitzy comes tearing out of the pub and nearly knocks me on my ass. But the car just flies at him. It was too fast for poor old Fitzy, and hit him an awful wallop. He goes flying up on top. Jesus, says I thought he was a goner. Next thing, the driver hops out, and I couldn't believe my eyes. He was dressed like a bloody pixie.
Of course.
Hey, Maguire.
What?
Did this pixie have a scar on his cheek?
I couldn't see. He was wearing a stupid mask. Are you a special agent?
Sorry to disappoint you, kid, but I'm not. Did Fitzgerald drop anything when he was hit?
I didn't see. It all happened so fast.
Maybe the package fell somewhere out of sight. See you later, kid.
Okay, mister.
I pushed the switch down, but in doing so it snapped off in my hand.
Oopsie.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir?
May I have another beer, please?
Certainly, sir. Same again?
Yeah, please. How is this stuff made?
That's the secret of the master brewer, sir. Each barrel is lovingly manhandled in time-honored fashion, suspended on skillfully tied ropes of the finest hemp, lowered into the cellar, utilizing the forces of original gravity, like manna from heaven. I'm sorry, but the pump appears to be broken.
I could fix it for you.
I don't think so. This is a job for a professional electrician. Oh well, at least the glass washer is still working. It's not my dear, is it?
Funny he should mention electrician.
It just so happens I'm an electrician. Check out my credentials.
Well, no. Isn't that marvelous? Here's a house bedeviled with faulty wiring of a wayward nature. Here's you, an electric man, with a little plastic card to prove it. I still want to see what you can do before I let you touch me beer pumps. You can make a start on the glass washer. When you finish that, will you take a look at the pumps?
No! No! Careful!
I couldn't see anything obviously wrong with the machine. I figured it must be the wiring.
No! No! Careful!
I replaced the fuse with a piece of wire. I knew it was dangerous, but I was desperate enough to disregard everything I knew about standard safety precautions. Excuse me, Mr. Leary. I fixed your glass washer, no problem.
Bingo! And a blessing to all the saints. A free half pint to that man, on the house. Now, could you take a look at the beer pumps?
Well, I guess so, but I'm not making any promises.
If you can't fix them, I'll have a riot on me hands.
The pumps are in the cellar, right?
That's right. You'll find a flashlight down there somewhere.
No! Careful!
I pushed the lever and heard the grating of metal, but nothing appeared to happen.
Also, I don't see a flashlight. Or much of anything.
I lifted the trap door, and an overpowering smell of stale beer rose from the cellar below. I looked down on a stone-tiled floor, way too far to jump.
Excuse me.
There was a nasty feeling in my guts I usually associated with light opera. It was Khan. What's the problem?
Did you see what happened here a few minutes ago?
What was that?
A man was involved in an unfortunate accident.
I didn't see anything.
What about the boy?
He doesn't know anything either. The kid, well, you know how it is in these rural communities. Not enough genes to go round. I prayed McGuire had the sense to keep his mouth shut. Was the guy hurt bad?
He's been taken care of, but he thinks he dropped a small parcel. You didn't happen to find it, did you?
If I had, I would have taken it to the police.
Of course. Thank you.
Now I could see. I spotted Mr. Leary's flashlight easily. Then I noticed a flash of light. Something sparkling beneath the open trap door. It was Peagram's gem, all right. A large, uncut blue stone. I guess I was already under its spell.
Did you find it?
What?
Whatever you was looking for.
Yeah. Listen, McGuire, I want you to keep this to yourself.
No problemo. Just chuck us up a crate of lager.
No way, you're not old enough.
We can sell it and make some cash.
Forget it, kid. I couldn't betray Mr. Leary's trust.
I could, for sure. That old misery guts deserves it.
If you want to do me a favor, keep a lookout for that guy in the suit.
Okay. But it'll cost you a packet of chips.
Oh, and shout if you see that Ferrari.
Okay. Now we get to leave again. here we are at the castle. Which is where I'm probably going to call it, because we've been going about an hour and a half. Let's see. Yeah, we're already 38% of the way done, so... There it is. So, I will be back probably tomorrow with some more of this. So, have a good evening.